Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Ryan and welcome to Math with RG. Thank you so much for checking out this lesson today. Remember, it's going to be you and I, and we're going to conquer this. Are you ready? Here we go! Hey, what's up everyone? Alright, I'm Ryan and we're back, and today we're going to talk about how to multiply fractions. And we're going to specifically talk about fraction to fraction, whole number to fraction, and fraction to whole number. Alright, so here we go. How do you multiply fractions? Well, the basic rule is this. You do top times top and bottom times bottom. Now, what do I mean when I say top times top? Well, that means numerator times numerator, because the numerator is on the top of the fraction. And then we do bottom times bottom. The bottom is called the denominator, so it's denominator times denominator. All right, so we're going to get into this video right now of multiplying fractions. Whoa, we're back. Multiplying fractions? Oh man, I know, we're talking about fractions again, and it gets a little crazy, but I promise you, it's not too bad, and we're gonna do this together. All right, guys? We're a team. You and I. Everyone. Here we go. All right, so let's say we start off with 2/3 times 4/5. All right, the first step is we just take a look at it. We're going to do top times top, bottom times bottom. So we do 2 times 4, and that is 8. And then we do 3 times 5, and that is 15. Now we ask ourselves, can we reduce the fraction? Reducing the fraction means you ask yourself this one question. What is the biggest number that divides into both the top and the bottom perfectly? So we look at 8 and we look at 15. Is there a number that even goes into both? One's even, one's odd. 8, we've got 2 and 4 and 8 that go into 8. And 15, we have 3, 5, and 15 that go into 15. None of those numbers are identical, so we are fully reduced. Now remember, if we divide by 1, you can do that, but nothing will happen. It'll still be the same value if you divide by 1 or if you multiply by 1. All right, so let's move on to the next problem. The next problem is 8/3 times 6/7. Now, I brought up this problem because I want to teach you something called cross-canceling, which will help you when you're doing problems like this. What cross-canceling means is that we're looking for numbers that we can either divide into each other, or we're looking for a number just like reducing, so the biggest number that goes into a number on the top and a number on the bottom. So first we look at 8/3. Is there any number that goes into 8 and 3? No, there isn't. So then we look at 6/7. Is there any number that goes into 6 and 7? There is not. So now what we're going to do is we're going to look at the actual cross-canceling part of this. We look at 8 and 7. Is there a number that goes into 8 and 7? There is not. But now we look at 6 and 3. Is there a number that goes into 6 and 3? There is. 3. So we do 6 divided by 3, and we get 2. And then we do 3 divided by 3, and we get 1. So we have now evened it out by dividing the top and the bottom by the same number, which was 3. And we're going to get our final answer here. So let's do it. We've got 8 times 2, that is 16. And then we have 7 times 1, or 1 times 7, and that is 7. Oh, this is called an improper fraction. Improper, which, is kind of a funny name, but improper fraction means that the top number, the numerator, is bigger than the smaller number on the bottom, which would be the denominator. And that means that this number will be greater than 1. And we can change this into a mixed number, which I'll talk more in detail about in another video. All right, so how do we do this? We just ask ourselves, and you have to remember, going back to that phrase that I talked about in the video before this, all fractions are, well, if you got it right, it's division problems. All fractions are division problems. And if you didn't get it, that's okay, but I'm going to keep repeating it, and you keep saying it as well to build that retainment. All fractions are division problems. All right, so here we go. 16 divided by 7. So that literally means how many 7s can I fit into 16? Well, let's count it off. We've got 7, then we've got 14. So I can fit 2 in there. Equals 2 wholes. And now how many are left over? Right? 7 plus 7 is 14. And then we just subtract from 16. So 16 minus 14. There are 2 left over out of 7. That is your final answer. And if you want to check your mixed number to see if it's right, you do something called bottom times side plus top. The bottom, which is the denominator, times the side, which is the whole number, plus the top. So why don't we do that together? We've got bottom times, so the denominator, times the side, right? So we've got 7 times 2, and then plus the top, which is the numerator, plus the 2, and we get 14 plus 2, which equals 16, and then it's still, of course, out of the same denominator, 7. All right, everyone, let's move on to the next topic. We're going to talk about whole numbers and fractions multiplying against each other. All right, so let's say you have the number 5 times, let's say, 7/8. All right, so here's a very important concept that will continue to come up basically every year of math. When you're dealing with a whole number, so for example, the number 5, you can rewrite it as a fraction. But you have to remember one thing. In math, we cannot just say, I don't really like this number, I'm just going to change it. We can't do that. But what we can do is rewrite it into a format that is the same value as the other format. Okay? So, check it out. The number 5 can be rewritten as 5 over 1. Or, back to that phrase, all fractions are division problems, 5 divided by 1. And what's 5 divided by 1? 5. Which means I haven't changed the value, so I'm allowed to do this. And then we just copy down the rest of the problem. Times 7 over 8. And now we do top times top and bottom times bottom, or numerator times numerator and denominator times denominator. Here we go. We get 5 times 7, 35. 1 times 8, 8. And you know what? Why don't we change that into a mixed number? So, how many times does 8 go into 35? Well, it goes in 4 whole times, and that would give you 32. And so now we do 35 minus 32, and we get 3 out of our original denominator, 8. So we now have 4 3/8, which is the same as 35 over 8, or 35 divided by 8. All right. Now, let me show you another very important concept. Let's say you have the number 8 times, let's go with 2/3. Now, here's something that I see all the time, which is a common mistake, and it's okay, but I want to explain to you why it doesn't work. Sometimes people will say, well, we do 8 times 2 and we do 8 times 3. Now, the reason that is wrong is because if you multiply the top and bottom by the same number, you're actually just multiplying by 1. But we're supposed to be multiplying by 8 in this problem. Now you say, well, Ryan, what does that mean you're multiplying by 1? I multiplied by 8 on the top and 8 on the bottom. So I didn't multiply by 1, I multiplied by 8. Well, let me tell you, or show you. Okay, so here we go. If I multiply by 8 on the top and 8 on the bottom, it will actually look like this. 8 on the top, 8 on the bottom, times 2 over 3. So what is 8 times 2? Well, 8 times 2 is 16, right? And what is 8 times 3? 24. Well, 16 over 24 literally is 2/3, right? Because I have 8, 16, 24. 8 plus 8 is 16. That's 16 out of 24, or 2 out of 3. So, and then the other explanation is this. We have to look at the 8 and the 8. What is 8 divided by 8? Because remember right here, this literally says, because of that phrase, all fractions are division problems. This literally says 8 divided by 8. Well, that's actually just 1. So what we just did was 1 times 2/3, which equals 2/3. So back to our original problem, what we actually need to do is 8 times 2/3. We can just take any whole number and put a 1 on the bottom. So now we have 8 times 2 and 1 times 3. And we get 16 over 3, which we can then turn into a mixed number. How many times does 3 go into 16? It goes in 5 times, and 1/3 left over. All right, so that would be the same case if you're doing a fraction, 6/7 times a whole number, 9. So again, we're going to do 6/7 times 9. And that means that we're going to do 6/7 times 9 over 1. And why do we do that? Because 9 divided by 1 is 9. And so we get 6/7 times 9 over 1. That equals 54 over 7. Thank you all so much for watching this lesson today. This has been Math with RG. I'm Ryan, and I will see you on the next video. Bye-bye.